さ、有言しよう。
Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. So come be merry with me. Yeah. Oh, come be merry with me. Come on, be merry with me. Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. Oh yeah, dude. I did get a haircut. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Welcome to this edition of Merry Mitch. I'm stoked to be here. Rick, I'm just super happy that we get back to some good old Percy Jackson and read a little bedtime story. Heck, welcome Impulse. There's so many of you guys here already. Thank you for coming. Thank you for hopping right into the stream. That's, I don't know. That's a new thing for me. I gotta say. Normally, especially on the weekdays, I get like a couple of peeps, like 4 dudes or 3 dudes we hang out at the start, and then folks come filing in. But to have all you guys here right at the start, whew, good lord, that's a really cool thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, to give you an update on my day, if you'd like to hear it. I had like a little meeting with some peeps this morning, which was really nice. We talked about goals, and it's kind of like a group therapy thing. It's super nice, very very good for the soul kind of thing. Then I ate some granola and almond milk, which is such a good combo, and I have the best granola brand in the world. It's so good, dude. I can't get enough of it. I did, oh, thank you, Impulse. Thank you so much. Congratulations on becoming a tulip. A tulip amongst the wildflowers. Thank you, Impulse. Goodness. Oh, man. Seriously, dude, thank you so much. Heck yeah. To go on with the rest of my day, I, after that, had some lunch, and then I took a diggity darn nap. which was really nice. I didn't realize how much the weekend wore me out, but that's become kind of a normal thing now for me. Is if I have the time available, whenever it hits around 2 p.m., the sleepies hit me, and I take a little nap. I think it only happens like about once a week, but when it does, super nice, super refreshing. Um, and then soon enough after that, it was time to go do my flips and gymnastics stuff, which went so much better. If you guys uh heard me like over the weekend, I was asking you guys to keep me in your prayers because my ankle has been killing me. I sprained it a while back, but the pain keeps on resurfacing because of me landing my backflips in a certain fashion, like landing with my chest down, so that the foot just scrunches inwards. Not fun, not cool. But I only did that once this time, so my ankle didn't hurt nearly as much as normal. And it was a really fun practice. I got to see my whole squad, my whole team, and it was a nice time. Then I came on back. I drank most of my kombucha, ate some dinner, and now I'm ready to read. How's everybody doing in chat? How we feeling? I pray the day has been filled with merriment, or at least partially filled with merriment. I know in any given day there's some upsides and some downsides, but I'm hoping those upsides were merry to the max. Yeah, I agree. It is a little weird. Doing good. It's been a chill day. Nice. Having those like normal days is pretty solid. Especially when I had a solid period of my life where the ups and downs were super extreme. So nowadays, having like a chill or normal proceeding of a day is a gift. Bought a cute bowl at Goodwill. Has a rooster on it. Very excited to make mac and cheese for it. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Finding those little things about the day that can bring us joy. That's flipping awesome, dude. I'm glad you found that bowl. Did you make mac and cheese tonight for it, or are you gonna wait till tomorrow? Save that mac and cheesy goodness for another day. Yeah, dude, I wish I had a rooster bowl. That'd be tight. We'll share and show and tell. Gonna make it tomorrow. Heck yeah, man. Please do. I will have to experience it through you because I'm not allowed to eat mac and cheese. At least I can eat it, but it's in a very specific way. With no dairy whatsoever and gluten-free noodles. Sadly, my body does not like it when I do the normal mac and cheese. I cry. But heck yeah, man. I hope it comes out super duper tasty. I know, man. F's in chat for me not having had real mac and cheese for 7 years. I've gone 7 years without real mac and cheese. I'm just now realizing that. Like, I mean, I knew I haven't had it for a long time, but it has genuinely been 7 years. Whew. Just goes to show it gets easier. I agree with that. Using almond milk instead of regular milk can be a solid thing, dude. Oh, it's okay, May. I hope the delay gets better. Well, guys, I've got this handy dandy book here with me. And if we're gonna be reading about 3 chapters hopefully tonight, maybe more if they're short. Then I say we go ahead and get it started. And that's right. Story time. I'm gonna do it like a Blue's Clues episode. Story time, story time, story time. Oh! Oh yeah! Dude, everybody get hype. Or get cozy. Yo, it went through! Yes! Yes! That's so good. It's me holding the book, all like Jotaro style, and going supernova. Dude, I'm so happy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is there. Heck yeah, I'm gonna be trying to get us a new emote at least once a week. Um so if you have any suggestions or things that you specifically want to see, um then please let me know. You can either do that in the chat here when I'm live, or you can plop it over in the Discord. That works too. Also, if any of you guys are photo editors out there and would like to attempt to make an emote for us, I would love to have your help. Not gonna lie. That would be super cool. Honestly, if I could like have someone from the community be helping out with that, that'd be freaking cool. So hit me up in the DMs if that sounds like a tantalizing offer. Well, okay guys. I said it was story time like 5 years ago, so let's go ahead and get it going. So this is Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. 14. I have a damn problem. At the edge of the dump, we found a tow truck so old it might have been thrown away itself. But the engine started, and it had a full tank of gas. So we decided to borrow it. Dahlia drove. She didn't seem as stunned as Zoe or Grover or me. The skeletons are still out there, she reminded us. We need to keep moving. She navigated us through the desert, under clear blue skies, the sand so bright it hurt to look at. Zoe sat up front with Thalia. Grover and I sat in the pickup bed, leaning against the tow winch. The air was cool and dry, but the nice weather just seemed like an insult after losing Bianca. My hand closed around the little figurine that had cost her her life. I still couldn't even tell what god it was supposed to be. Nico would know. Oh gods, what was I going to tell Nico? I wanted to believe that Bianca was still alive somewhere, but I had a bad feeling that she was gone, for good. It should have been me, I said. I should have gone into the giant. Don't say that, Grover panicked. It's bad enough Annabeth is gone, and now Bianca. Do you think I could stand it if... Do you think anybody else would be my best friend? Grover, he wiped under his eyes with an oily cloth that left his face grimy, like he had on war paint. I'm okay. But he wasn't okay. Ever since the encounter in New Mexico, whatever had happened while that wild wind blew through, He seemed really fragile, even more emotional than usual. I was afraid to talk to him about it, because he might start bawling. At least there's one good thing about having a friend who gets freaked out more than you do. I realized I couldn't stay depressed. I had to set aside thinking about Bianca and keep us going forward, the way Thalia was doing. I wondered what she and Zoe were talking about in the front of the truck. The tow truck ran out of gas at the edge of a river canyon. That was just as well, because the road dead-ended. Thalia got out and slammed the door. Immediately, one of the tires blew. Great! What now? I scanned the horizon. There wasn't much to see. Desert in all directions. Occasional clumps of barren mountains plopped here and there. The canyon was the only thing interesting. The river itself wasn't very big, maybe 50 yards across, green water with a few rapids, but it carved a huge scar out of the desert. The rock cliffs dropped away below us. There's a path, Grover said. We could get to the river. I tried to see what he was talking about, and finally I noticed a tiny ledge winding down the cliff face. That's a goat path, I said. So? He asked. The rest of us aren't goats. We can make it, Grover said. I think. I thought about that. I'd done cliffs before, but I didn't like them. Then I looked over at Thalia and saw how pale she'd gotten. Her problem with heights. She'd never be able to do it. No, I said. I think we should go further upstream. Grover said. But, come on, I said. A walk won't hurt us. I glanced at Thalia. Her eyes said a quick thank you. We followed the river about half a mile before coming to an easier slope that led down to the water. On the shore was a canoe rental operation that was closed for the season, but I left a stack of golden drachmas on the counter and a note saying, I owe you 2 canoes. We need to go upstream, Zoe said. It was the first time I'd heard her speak since the junkyard, and I was worried about how bad she sounded, like somebody with the flu. The rapids are too swift. Leave that to me, I said. We put the canoes in the water. Thalia pulled me aside as we were getting the oars. Thanks for back there. Don't mention it. Can you really? She nodded to the rapids. You know, I think so. Usually I'm good with water. Would you take Zoe? She asked. I think, maybe you can talk to her? She's not going to like that. Please. I don't know if I can stand being in the same boat with her. She's starting to worry me. It was about the last thing I wanted to do. But I nodded. Thalia's shoulders relaxed. I owe you 1. 2. 1.5. She smiled, and for a second, I remembered that I actually liked her when she wasn't yelling at me. She turned and helped Grover get their canoe into the water. As it turned out, I didn't even need to control the currents. As soon as we got in the river, I looked over the edge of the boat and found a couple of naiads staring at me. They looked like regular teenage girls, the kind you'd see in any mall, except for the fact they were underwater. Hey, I said. They made a bubbling sound that may have been giggling. I wasn't sure. I had a hard time understanding naiads. We're heading upstream, I told them. Do you think you could... Before I could even finish, the naiads each chose a canoe and began pushing us up the river. We started so fast Grover fell into his canoe with his hooves sticking up in the air. I hate naiads, Zoe grumbled. A stream of water squirted up from the back of the boat and hit Zoe in the face. She-devils! Joey went for her bow. Whoa, I said. They're just playing. Cursed water spirits. They've never forgiven me. Forgiven you for what? She slung her bow back over her shoulder. It was a long time ago. Never mind. We sped up the river, the cliffs looming up on either side of us. What happened to Bianca wasn't your fault, I told her. It was my fault. I let her go. I figured this would give Zoe an excuse to start yelling at me. At least that might shake her out of feeling depressed. Instead, her shoulders slumped. No, Percy. I pushed her into going on this quest. I was too anxious. She was a powerful half-blood. She had a kind heart as well. I thought she would be the next lieutenant. But you're the lieutenant. She gripped the strap of her quiver. She looked more tired than I'd ever seen her. Nothing can last forever, Percy. Over 2,000 years I have led the hunt, and my wisdom has not improved. Now Artemis herself is in danger. Look, you can't blame yourself for that. If I had insisted on going with her, you think you could have fought something powerful enough to kidnap Artemis? There's nothing you could have done. Zoe didn't answer. The cliffs along the river were getting taller. Long shadows fell across the water, making it a lot colder, even though the day was bright. Without thinking about it, I took Riptide out of my pocket. Zoe looked at the pen, and her expression was pained. You made this, I said. Who told thee? I had a dream about it. She studied me. I was sure she was going to call me crazy, but she just sighed. It was a gift, and a mistake. Who was the hero? I asked. Zoe shook her head. Do not make me say his name. I swore never to speak it again. You act like I should know him. I'm sure you do, hero. Don't all you boys want to be just like him? Don't all you boys want to be just like him? Her voice was so bitter. I decided not to ask what she meant. I looked down at Riptide, and for the first time, I wondered if it was cursed. Your mother was a water goddess? I asked. Yes. Pleione. She had 5 daughters. My sisters and I. The... Hesperides. Those were the girls who lived in a garden at the edge of the west, with the golden apple tree and a dragon guarding it. Yes, Zoe said wistfully. Laden. But weren't there only 4 sisters? There are now. I was exiled. Forgotten. Blotted out as if I never existed. Why? Zoe pointed to my pen. Because I betrayed my family and helped a hero. You won't find that in the legend either. he never spoke of me. After his direct assault on Leyden failed, I gave him the idea of how to steal the apples, how to trick my father, but he took all the credit. But... Gurgle, gurgle. The naiad spoke in my mind. The canoe was slowing down. I looked ahead, and I saw why. This was as far as they could take us. The river was blocked. A dam the size of a football stadium stood in our path. "Hoover Dam," Thalia said. "It's huge." We stood at the river's edge, looking up at a curve of concrete that loomed between the cliffs. People were walking along the top of the dam. They were so tiny they looked like fleas. The naiads had left with a lot of grumbling. Not in words I could understand, but it was obvious they hated this dam blocking up their nice river. Our canoes floated back downstream, swirling in the wake from the dam's discharge vents. 700 feet tall, I said. Built in the 1930s. 5 million cubic acres of water, Thalia said. Grover sighed. Largest construction project in the United States. Zoe stared at us. How do you know all that? Annabeth, I said. She liked architecture. She was nuts about the monuments, Thalia said. Spouted facts all the time, Grover sniffled. So annoying. I wish she was here, I said. The others nodded. Zoe was still looking at us strangely, but I didn't care. It seemed like cruel fate that we'd come to the Hoover Dam, one of Annabeth's personal favorites, and she wasn't here to see it. We should go up there, I said, for her sake. Just to say we've been. You are mad, Zoe decided. But that's where the road is. She pointed to a huge parking garage next to the top of the dam. And so, sightseeing it is. We had to walk for almost an hour before we found a path that led up to the road. It came up on the east side of the river. Then we straggled back toward the dam. It was cold and windy on top. On one side, a big lake spread out, ringed by barren desert mountains. On the other side, the dam dropped away like the world's most dangerous skateboard ramp, down to the river, 700 feet below, and water that churned from the dam's vents. Thalia walked in the middle of the road, far away from the edges. Grover kept sniffing the wind and looking nervous. He didn't say anything, but I knew he smelled monsters. How close are they? I asked him. He shook his head. Maybe not close. The wind on the dam, the desert all around us. The scent can probably carry for miles. But it's coming in several directions. I don't like that. I didn't either. It was already Wednesday, only 2 days until winter solstice, and we still had a long way to go. We didn't need any more monsters. There's a snack bar in the visitor center, Thalia said. You've been here before? I asked. Once. To see the Guardians. She pointed to the far end of the dam. Carved into the side of the cliff was a little plaza with two big bronze statues. They looked kind of like Oscar statues with wings. They're dedicated to Zeus when the dam was built, Thalia said. A gift from Athena. Tourists were clustered all around them. They seemed to be looking at the statue's feet. What are they doing? I asked. Rubbing the toes, Thalia said. They think it's good luck. Why? She shook her head. Mortals get crazy ideas. They don't know the statues are sacred to Zeus, but they know there's something special about them. When you were here last, did they talk to you or anything? Thalia's expression darkened. I could tell that she'd come here before, hoping for exactly that. Some kind of sign from her dad. Some connection. No. They don't do anything. They're just big metal statues. I thought about the last big metal statue we'd run into. That hadn't gone so well. But I decided not to bring it up. Let us find the damn snack bar, Zoe said. We should eat while we can. Grover cracked a smile. The damn snack bar? Zoe blinked. Yes. What is funny? Nothing, Grover said, trying to keep a straight face. I could use some damn French fries. Even Thalia smiled at that. And I need to use the damn restroom. Maybe it was the fact that we were so tired and strung out emotionally, but I started cracking up. And Thalia and Grover joined in, while Zoe just looked at us. I do not understand. I want to use the damn water fountain, Grover said. And Thalia tried to catch her breath. I want to buy a damn t-shirt. I busted up. I probably would have kept laughing all day, but then I heard a noise. The smile melted off of my face. I wondered if the noise was just in my head, but Grover had stopped laughing too. He was looking around confused. Did I just hear a cow? A damn cow? Thalia laughed. No, Grover said. I'm serious. Zoe listened. I hear nothing. Thalia was looking at me. Percy, are you okay? Yeah, I said. You guys go ahead. I'll be right in. What's wrong? Grover asked. Nothing, I said. I just need a minute. To think. They hesitated, but I guess I must have looked upset, because they finally went into the visitor center without me. As soon as they were gone, I jogged to the north edge of the dam and looked over. She was about 30 feet below in the lake, but I could see her clearly. My friend from Long Island Sound, Bessie the cow serpent. I looked around. There were groups of kids running along the dam. A lot of senior citizens, some families, but nobody seemed to be paying Bessie any attention yet. "What are you doing here?" I asked her. Her voice was urgent, like she was trying to warn me of something. "How did you get here?" I asked. "We were thousands of miles from Long Island. Hundreds of miles inland. There was no way she could have swum all the way here. And yet, here she was." Bessie swam in a circle and butted her head up against the side of the dam. She wanted me to come with her. She was telling me to hurry. "I can't," I told her. "My friends are inside." She looked at me with her sad brown eyes. Then she gave one more urgent did a flip and disappeared into the water. I hesitated. Something was wrong. She was trying to tell me that. I considered jumping over the side, following her, but then I tensed. The hairs on my arms bristled. I looked down the dam road to the east, and I saw two men walking slowly toward me. They wore gray camouflage outfits that flickered over skeletal bodies. They passed through a group of kids and pushed them aside. A kid yelled, "Hey!" One of the warriors turned his face, changing momentarily into a skull. "Ah!" The kid yelled, and his whole group backed away. I ran for the visitor center. I was almost to the stairs when I heard tires squeal. On the west side of the dam, a black van swerved to a stop in the middle of the road, nearly plowing into some old people. The van doors opened and more skeletal warriors piled out. I was surrounded. I bolted down the stairs and through the museum entrance. The security guard at the metal detector yelled, "Hey, kid!" But I didn't stop. I ran through the exhibits and ducked behind a tour group. I looked for my friends, but I couldn't see them anywhere. Where was the damn snack bar? "Stop!" the metal detector guy yelled. There was no place to go but into an elevator with the tour group. I ducked inside just as the door closed. "We'll be going down 700 feet, our tour guide said cheerfully. She was a park ranger, with long black hair, pulled back in a ponytail and tinted glasses. I guess she hadn't noticed that I was being chased. "Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. The elevator hardly ever leaks." "Does this go to the snack bar?" I asked her. A few people behind me chuckled. The tour group looked at me. Something about her gaze made my skin tingle. "To the turbines, young man," the lady said. "Weren't you listening to my fascinating presentation upstairs?" "Oh, sure. Is there another way out of the dam?" "It's a dead end," the tourist behind me said. "For heaven's sake, the only way out is the other elevator." The doors opened. "Go right ahead, folks," the tour guide told us. "Another ranger is waiting for you at the end of the corridor." I didn't have much choice but to go out with the group. "And young man," the tour guide called. I looked back. She'd taken off her glasses. Her eyes were startlingly gray, like storm clouds. "There's always a way out for those clever enough to find it." The doors closed with the tour guide still inside, leaving me alone. Before I could think too much about the woman in the elevator, a ding came from around the corner. The second elevator was opening, and I heard an unmistakable sound, the clattering of skeleton teeth. I ran after the tour group, through a tunnel, carved out of solid rock. It seemed to run forever. The walls were moist, and the air hummed with electricity and the roar of water. I came out on a U-shaped balcony and overlooked this huge warehouse area. 50 feet below, enormous turbines were running. It was a big room, but I didn't see any other exit, unless I wanted to jump into the turbines and get churned up to make electricity. I didn't. Another tour guide was talking over the microphone, telling the tourists about water supplies in Nevada. I prayed that Thalia, Zoe, and Grover were okay. They might already be captured, or eating at the snack bar, completely unaware that we were being surrounded. And stupid me, I had trapped myself in a hole hundreds of feet below the surface. I worked my way around the crowd, trying not to be too obvious about it. There was a hallway at the other side of the balcony. Maybe someplace I could hide. I kept my hand on Riptide, ready to strike. By the time I got to the opposite side of the balcony, my nerves were shot. I backed into the little hallway and watched the tunnel I'd come from. Then, right behind me, I heard a sharp like the voice of a skeleton. Or it might be more. Without thinking, I uncapped Riptide and spun, slashing with my sword. The girl I'd just tried to slice in half yelped and dropped her Kleenex. "Oh my God," she shouted. "Do you always kill people when they blow their nose?" The first thing that went through my head was that the sword hadn't hurt her. It had passed clean through her body harmlessly. "You're mortal!" She looked at me in disbelief. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Of course I'm mortal. How did you get that sword past security?" "I didn't. Wait, you can see it's a sword?" The girl rolled her eyes, which were green like mine. She had frizzy, reddish-brown hair. Her nose was also red, like she had a cold. She wore a big maroon Harvard sweatshirt and jeans that were covered with marker stains and little holes, like she spent her free time poking them with a fork. "Well, it's either a sword or the biggest toothpick in the world," she said. "And why didn't it hurt me? I mean, not complaining. Who are you? And whoa, what is that you're wearing? Is that made out of lion fur?" She asked so many questions so fast, it was like she was throwing rocks at me. I couldn't think of what to say. I looked at my sleeves to see if the Nemean lion pelt had somehow changed back to fur, but it still looked like a brown winter coat to me. I knew the skeleton warriors were still chasing me. I had no time to waste, but I just stared at the red-headed girl. Then I remembered what Thalia had done at Westover Hall to fool the teachers. Maybe I could manipulate the mist. I concentrated hard and snapped my fingers. "You don't see a sword," I told the girl. "It's just a ballpoint pen." She blinked. No. It's a sword, weirdo." "Who are you?" I demanded. She huffed indignantly. "Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Now, are you going to answer my questions, or should I scream for security?" "No," I said. I mean, I'm kind of in a hurry. I'm in trouble." "In a hurry or in trouble?" Sort of both." She looked over my shoulder, and her eyes widened. "Bathroom!" "What?" "Bathroom! Behind me! Now!" I don't know why, but I listened to her. I slipped inside the boys' bathroom and left Rachel Elizabeth there, standing outside. Later, that seemed cowardly to me. I'm also pretty sure it saved my life. I heard the clattering, hissing sounds of skeletons as they came closer. My grip tightened on Riptide. What was I thinking? I'd left a mortal girl out there to die. I was preparing to burst out and fight when Rachel Elizabeth there started talking in that rapid-fire machine gun way of hers. "Oh my god, did you see that kid? It's about time you got here. He tried to kill me. He had a sword, for God's sake. You security guys let a sword-swinging lunatic inside the national landmark? I mean, jeez. He ran that way toward those turbine thingies. I think he went over the side or something. Maybe he fell." The skeletons clattered excitedly. I heard them moving off. Rachel opened the door. "All clear. But you'd better hurry." She looked shaken. Her face was gray and sweaty. I peeked around the corner. 3 skeletal warriors were running toward the other end of the balcony. The way to the elevators was clear for a few seconds. "I owe you one, Rachel Elizabeth there." "What are those things?" she asked. "They looked like..." "Skeletons?" She nodded uneasily. "Do yourself a favor," I said. "Forget it. Forget you ever saw me." "Forget you tried to kill me?" "Yeah, that too." "But who are you?" "Percy," I started to say. Then the skeletons turned around. "Gotta go." "What kind of name is Percy Gotta Go?" I bolted for the exit. The cafe was packed with kids enjoying the best part of the tour, the damn lunch. Thalia, Zoe, and Grover were just sitting down with their food. "We need to leave," I gasped. "Now!" "But we just got our burritos," Thalia said. Zoe stood up, muttering an ancient Greek curse. "He's right. Look!" The cafe windows wrapped all the way around the observation floor, which gave us a beautiful panoramic view of the skeletal army that had come to kill us. I counted 2 on the east side of the damn road, blocking the way to Arizona. Three more were on the west side, guarding Nevada. All of them were armed with batons and pistols. But our immediate problem was a lot closer. The 3 skeletal warriors who'd been chasing me in the turbine room now appeared on the stairs. They saw me from across the cafeteria and clattered their teeth. "Elevator!" Grover said. We bolted in that direction, but the doors opened with a pleasant ding, and 3 more warriors stepped out. Every warrior was accounted for, minus the one Bianca had blasted into flames in New Mexico. We were completely surrounded. Then Grover had a brilliant, totally Grover-like idea. "Burrito fight!" He yelled and flung his guacamole grande at the nearest skeleton. Now, if you have never been hit by a flying burrito, count yourself lucky. In terms of deadly projectiles, it's right up there with grenades and cannonballs. Grover's lunch hit the skeleton and knocked his skull clean off his shoulders. I'm not sure what the other kids saw in the cafe, but they went crazy and started throwing their burritos and baskets of chips and sodas at each other, shrieking and screaming. The skeletons tried to aim their guns, but it was hopeless. Bodies and food and drinks were flying everywhere. In the chaos, Thalia and I tackled the other 2 skeletons on the stairs and sent them flying into the condiment table. Then we all raced downstairs. Guacamole Grande's whizzing past our heads. "What now?" Grover asked as we burst outside. I didn't have an answer. The warriors on the road were closing in from either direction. We ran across the street to the pavilion with the winged bronze statues, but that just put our backs to the mountain. The skeletons moved forward, forming a crescent around us. Their brethren from the cafe were running up to join them. One was still putting its skull back on its shoulders. Another was covered in ketchup and mustard. 2 more had burritos lodged in their rib cages. They didn't look happy about it. They drew batons and advanced. 4 against 11, Zoe muttered. And they cannot die. It's been nice adventuring with you guys. Grover's voice was trembling. Something shiny caught the corner of my eye. I glanced behind me at the statue's feet. Whoa, I said. Their toes are really bright. Percy! Thalia said. This isn't the time. But I couldn't help staring at the 2 giant bronze guys with tall bladed wings like letter openers. They were weathered and brown except for their toes, which shone like new pennies from all the times people had rubbed them for good luck. Good luck. The blessing of Zeus. I thought about the tour guide in the elevator. Her gray eyes and her smile. What had she said? There is always a way for those clever enough to find it. Thalia, I said, pray to your dad. She glared at me. He never answers. Just this once, I pleaded. Ask for help. I think the statues can give us some luck. 6 skeletons raised their guns. The other 5 came forward with batons, 50 feet away, 40 feet. Do it! I yelled. No! Thalia said. He won't answer me! This time is different. Who says? Who says? I hesitated. Athena, I think. Thalia scowled, like she was sure I'd gone crazy. Try it, Grover pleaded. Thalia closed her eyes. Her lips moved in a silent prayer. I put in my own prayer to Annabeth's mom, hoping I was right that it had been her in that elevator, that she was trying to help us save her daughter. And nothing happened. The skeletons closed in. I raised Riptide to defend myself. Thalia held up her shield. Zoe pushed Grover behind her and aimed a bow at a skeleton's head. A shadow fell over me. I thought maybe it was the shadow of death. Then I realized it was the shadow of an enormous wing. The skeletons looked up too late. A flash of bronze, and all 5 of the baton wielders were swept aside. The other skeletons opened fire. I raised my lion coat for protection, but I didn't need it. The bronze angels stepped in front of us and folded their wings like shields. Bullets pinged off of them like rain off a corrugated roof. Both angels slashed outward, and the skeletons went flying across the road. Man, it feels good to stand up, the first angel said. His voice sounded tiny and rusty, like he hadn't had a drink since he'd been built. Will you look at my toes? The other said. Holy Zeus! What were those tourists thinking? As stunned as I was by the angels, I was more concerned with the skeletons. A few of them were getting up again, resembling bony hands groping for their weapons. reassembling. "Trouble," I said. "Get us out of here!" Thalia yelled. Both of the angels looked down at her. "Zeus's kid?" "Yes!" "Could I get a please, Miss Zeus's kid?" an angel asked. "Please!" The angels looked at each other and shrugged. "Could use a stretch," one decided. And the next thing I knew, one of them grabbed Thalia and me, and the other grabbed Zoe and Grover. And we flew straight up, over the dam and the river, the skeletal warriors shrinking to tiny specks below us, and the sound of gunfire echoing off the sides of the mountain. Goodness. The name of this next one is good too. I remember that was one of my favorite chapters from this book when I was a kid. I mean, the whole damn bathroom thing. I don't know if I yucked it up enough during that part, but I remember that being real fun. Oh. Well, what do we think? Yeah, dude. It's a rough chapter though, too. With dude, it's wild how it can go from everybody being like, "Oh god, Bianca's dead," then suddenly to burrito fight in seemingly such a short time. But the transition is pretty well done, I think. Attack of the burritos. I mean, that was clever. Grover's a smart dude. God, when they first come across the dam, though, what I didn't remember is how emotional that part is. Where they see it, and of course, it reminds them of Annabeth. There's a lot of loss in this one. Didn't even realize that. What's the name of the sister Zoe used to belong to? Uh, hello. It started with an H. Let me look at it. Yo, I turned to the exact page. Let's go. The the Hesperides. God, I struggled with that name the first time. I was like, Hesperides. Hesperides? Her, Herpy? No. 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 Keaton, please. Keaton, please. Goodness. That one was well done. I mean, you spelled Hesperides wrong, but still. I've been God. I have been God. And that was a true to the form got him. I didn't even think about it too. I guess I don't run into into these nuts jokes enough. Hesperides nuts. Dude, that's how Percy should have responded. The Hesperides. Or just what if later on in the book there's a Percy's just like, "Hey, wait, what were your sisters and you called again?" The Hesperides. Hesperides nuts. Oh! Oh! Woo! Got it! That's true. I think his life would certainly be in danger after something like that. Sorry, I needed to stretch. My dang leg is not working. Hey, Caro, welcome. Welcome to the stream. We just finished up chapter 14 of Percy Jackson and the Kitten's Purse. Some good stuff. There was some heartache. There was some talk of damn bathrooms and damn gift stores and damn water fountains. Hello. Hello, Caro. How goes it? Are you feeling any better? I hope so. Break. It is about break time. I don't know, unless this next chapter is uber short. But I don't think that is going to be the case. Nope. No, sir. No, sir. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's the longest, but it's definitely a solid chapter. I'm still incredibly sick, but better than terrible. Hey, it's good to look on that bright side. Not as bad as you were, right? Huh? Also, what about now? You're still feeling sick? What about now? Also, there are so many new buttons on your channel. Why is this? It's because I'm an affiliate. I decided to spruce up the channel, give you guys some more options, and some more options were made available to me. Like you can unlock a random sub emote, which there is only one at the moment, so that's not exactly an accurate title. But yeah, so all those like the sub related ones were not available to me before. Um Neither was the "we'll be right back" after this. And I added myself the "read this now please" button, the "book on face" button. I think those are the only two that I added. But I changed the pictures for all of them. Heck yeah. Yeah, thanks, Senor. She really has been going through the thick of it. But hopefully, uh, if you drink enough kombucha, eat enough bananas, you'll be healed in no time. I promise. That's how I handle any of my sicknesses. It's got a 100%, 100% success rate. Kombucha and bananas. Thank you, mate. I'm a fan of Book on Face as well. You despise kombucha, but it's good for your tummy. Good for your tum tum. Your bellio. Your bellino. Your stomach. Your stomach. Yeah, I will say, like, it does smell weird and taste weird, but for some reason, I adore it. It's like when I drink it, I'm like, ooh, This is helping out my stomach so good. If I wanted to drink vinegar, I would drink vinegar. Of course. I hear you. Well, how about tea? Hmm. I've got it in the Yeti again, so it's staying warm. Ah, some good stuff. Hmm. Let's go, tea. Ah. Well, okay, guys. Hey, you found the sync the only emote. Heck yeah. It's a pretty good one, ain't it? I'm so glad it was finally approved. Took a while. But I guess not as long as I might imagine. I know we need when's Cookie gonna get the two the top of the jar and the bottom of the jar emotes? You know we need them. Okay, it's time to go to a break. Thank you everybody for being here. It's wicked awesome to see so many of you guys here for the Monday night Percy Jackson stream. You know, again, I think I said this last time, but I don't know. I never expect these ones to be uh so full of life and full of folks. So thanks everybody for being here. We're gonna jump to a little break so that I can relieve myself and stretch a little bit. Hopefully, get my leg to start working again. um, and have a couple of deep breaths and a good stretch. Heck yeah! So, as always, I encourage everybody to stand up during the break. Get your body moving. Get your body to move. It's important, especially if we're laying down or just sitting down, looking at a screen for an hour or more. It's good at that point to stand up, shake out your troubles, and shake out your tribulations. So I pray you do that, because I will be doing it right there with you. Heck yeah, and we'll return with chapter 15. I'm looking forward to it. They just escaped on the wings of bronze angels. Let's see where they go from there. Your body is so crumpled. Is it crumpled enough to not be able to crump? If it's crumpled, that sounds like it's in perfect condition to crump, right? Do some crumping. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Am I doing it? Am I crumping? Spine equals spaghetti. Like a paper ball. Oh. Well, hey. I mean, if you can maybe stretch out a little bit, like sitting down, that would also help out, I'm sure. Never crump again. You have disgraced your channel. Hey, I'll crump whenever I please. Thank you very much. But since you asked so nicely, I definitely will. Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump to that break. We are at 6 past the hour for me, so we'll be back no later than 16 past the hour. Sound like a deal? A dealio? Cool beans. Alright, I love you guys bunches, and don't go nowhere. We'll be back with chapter 15 real soon. Till then, keep on swaying, my wildflowers. Be right back. Whoop.
We're in. We're live. So,
Submerge the device in liquid, even partially.
this should be fun. I should probably leave for this, huh? This seems kind of dangerous. You guys can do this without me. Uh-oh. Oh. Let's do it. Yeah. Begone, thought. Hello. Is there grapefruit in real life? Yeah, it's me. I'm that. How should... Oh, this is... this is kind of amazing and kind of dumb. Are you guys ready for this? What a great ending. Alright, we're not done though. That's it.
I don't have any friends.
But that's not true.
I don't have any friends.
But that's not true. Despite being much better than you used to be, you're still broken. You're still being fixed. You want to make people happy. You want to make up for the things you've done. You want to inspire people. You want to be better.
So get on it.
People can change. You still feel the guilt. 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 You want to rustle somebody's jimmies. 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 You may have messed up in the past, but you aren't a lost cause. Even if you don't see it, you inspire others. You may have messed up in the past, but you aren't a lost cause. Even if you don't see it, you inspire others.
So get on it.
People can change. You're still broken. You're still being fixed. People can change. You want to be better. People can change. You're still broken. You're still being fixed. People can change. You want to be better.
Get on it.
Spirituality, does it transcend morality? Affects our mentality, through our centrality, immorality. Should not be its normality, neither its triviality, its individuality. Recognize my sentimentality, my intentionality, it's a universality. Reality is, we neglect our vitality, what it means to be alive. I can't be sure that you'll revive when we dive headfirst into black and white rationality, pain and pleasure as its totality. This person desires no bad, but eclipses the good. Thinks he's just misunderstood, knows he should, but doesn't believe that he could. After all, how could you do anything without knowing who you are? Your values distort each time you swallow a bar. Finish your umpteenth cigar, fall asleep at the bar, and then again in the car. Drunk at the wheel, each time you steal, the more you'll feel. What's the appeal? Allow me to reveal the deal. Instant gratification and short-term removal of pain. Are you fain to strap on this fallen chain? Are you sane? Take a step into your awareness and ask, why do I feel the way I do? What the fuck happened to my worldview? Let the feelings pass through. Without bent disposition, establish in yourself a determined inquisition of mind and body. And don't simply make this a hobby, replay it in your head each day. Meditate, pray. Spirituality, does it transcend morality? Affects our mentality, through our centrality, immorality. Should not be its normality, neither its triviality, its individuality. The eyes are the window to the soul. Be careful about what you take in, and what you use to fill your emptiness, that hole. The eyes are the window to the soul. Be careful about what you take in, and what you use to fill your emptiness, that hole. Take a step into your awareness and ask, why? Why do I feel the way I do? Whoa! 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 Hello. Oh. Also forgot I meant to put on a little bit of ambiance. Ambiance. Welcome. Also, Caro, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you endeavoring to figure out Twitch. You know, for my own accord. It means so much, honestly. Oh, and that Animal Crossing friend. Which, by the way, if you'd like to shout them out at any point, feel free to. Imagine if they're any friend of yours, they're certainly worth watching. If you ever wanted to, Caroline, if you ever wanted to stream, just let me know. I could help with the setup. Be more than happy to. Dude, I never actually wound up getting Animal Crossing. Which I know is... But still. I didn't get it like right at launch, and now I feel as though I've waited too long. You know? That makes sense. I also fear that I will get sucked into it and will no longer spend any other time on any projects. Yeah, man. It would have been fun to have gotten it when it was popping off. My island is beautiful, and any of you can come visit. I will give you present. Oh, if I had the game, I would certainly do just that. Yeah, I know Kate Tanamore has it. He's a cool chap. He and his girly friend. Which, by the way, Kate Tanamore, say hey to Maddie for me. I feel like I could have said that like any number of streams before, but I thought about it this time, so say hey to her for me. Heck yeah. Listen to the calming breeze and feel serenity washing over you. Think about the waves as your thoughts and emotions. They come and go, so let them. One comes crashing in, the other comes smoothly. Yet the shore accepts them all, and lets them pass when they will. Oh, heck yeah. I'm glad she liked it. That's one that I'm definitely proud of. It's an odd project, like, amongst the bunches that I've done, because I don't normally do, I don't know, I don't normally do, like, hip-hop stuff. But it was a fun one. I feel this persisting happiness, feels like pouring rain. I will say, the rap in that one is by far the best rap that I've ever come up with. It's one of those raps where I'm like, I feel like if I endeavored to rap again, I don't know if I would like it as much as I did in that one. Well, right on. Is everybody ready to get back into the reading? We are about to head into Chapter 15. Story time, baby. Heck yeah. So, this is This is book on face. That's what it is. Excuse me, it is not Facebook. Also, I bumped the mic there. I apologize. Whoa. Well. I get 2 books on faces. I put 2 books on my face that time in anticipation that another would come. I'm gonna count that one as 2. Unless were there even more than that? Hang on. Okay, there were 3. Good. Do I have to read like that? I wrestle Santa's evil twin. Tell me when it's over, said Thalia. No, but for realsies. Let's go ahead and get into it. Thanks for doing that at the start of the chapter, by the way. I have yet to experience what it's like to get hit with a book on face in the midst of a chapter. So, this is Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Read by Mary Mitch. Chapter 15. I wrestle Santa's evil twin. Tell me when it's over, Thalia said. Her eyes were shut tight. The statue was holding on to us, so we couldn't fall. But still, Thalia clutched his arm like it was the most important thing in the world. Everything's fine, I promised. Are we very high? I looked down. Below us, a range of snowy mountains zipped by. I stretched out my foot and kicked snow off one of the peaks. Nah, I said. Not that high. We are in the Sierras, Zoe yelled. She and Grover were hanging from the arms of the other statue. I have hunted here before. At this speed, we should be in San Francisco in a few hours. Hey, Frisco, our angel said. Yo, Chuck, we could visit those guys at the Mechanics Monument again. They know how to party. Oh man, the other angel said. I am so there. You guys have visited San Francisco? I asked. We automatons have to have some fun once in a while, right? Our statue said. Those mechanics took us over to the Young Museum and introduced us to these marble lady statues, see? And Hank, the other statue, Chuck, cut in. They're kids, man. Oh, right. If bronze statues could blush, I swear Hank did. Back to flying. We sped up so I could tell the angels were excited. The mountains fell away into hills, and then we were zipping along over farmland and towns and highways. Grover played his pipes to pass the time. Zoe got bored and started shooting arrows at random billboards as we flew by. Every time she saw a Target department store... every time she saw a Target department store, and we passed dozens of them, she would peg the store's sign with a few bullseyes at 100 miles an hour. Dahlia kept her eyes closed the whole way. She muttered to herself a lot, like she was praying. You did good back there, I told her. Zeus listened. It was hard to tell what she was thinking, with her eyes closed. Maybe, she said. How did you get away from the skeletons in the generator room anyway? You said they cornered you. I told her about the weird mortal girl, Rachel Elizabeth Dare, who seemed to be able to see right through the mist. I thought Thalia was going to call me crazy, but she just nodded. Some mortals are like that, she said. Nobody knows why. Suddenly I flashed on something I'd never considered. My mom was like that. She had seen the Minotaur on Half-Blood Hill and known exactly what it was. She hadn't been surprised at all last year when I'd told her my friend Tyson was really a Cyclops. Maybe she'd known all along. No wonder she'd been so scared for me as I was growing up. She saw through the mist even better than I did. Well, the girl was annoying, I said. But I'm glad I didn't vaporize her. That would have been bad. Dahlia nodded. Must be nice to be a regular mortal. She said that as if she'd given it a lot of thought. Where you guys want to land? Hank asked, waking me up from a nap. I looked down and said, Whoa. I'd seen San Francisco? I'd seen San Francisco in pictures before, but never in real life. It was probably the most beautiful city I'd ever seen. Kind of like a smaller, cleaner Manhattan, if Manhattan had been surrounded by green hills and fog. There was a huge bay of ships, islands, and sailboats, and the Golden Gate Bridge sticking up out of the fog. I felt like I should take a picture or something. Greetings from San Francisco. Haven't died yet. Wish you were here. There, Zoe suggested. By the Embarcadero building. Good thinking, Chuck said. Me and Hank can blend in with the pigeons. We all looked at him. Kidding, he said. Sheesh. Can't statues have a sense of humor? As it turned out, there wasn't much need to blend in. It was early morning and not many people were around. We freaked out a homeless guy on the ferry docks when we landed. He screamed when he saw Hank and Chuck and ran off yelling something about metal angels from Mars. We said our goodbyes to the angels, who flew off to party with their statue friends. That's when I realized I had no idea what we were going to do next. We'd made it to the West Coast. Artemis was here somewhere. Annabeth, too, I hoped. But I had no idea how to find them. And tomorrow was the winter solstice. Nor did I have any clue about what monster Artemis had been hunting. It was supposed to find us on the quest. It was supposed to show the trail, but it never had. Now we were stuck on the ferry docks with not much money, no friends, and no luck. After a brief discussion, we agreed that we needed to figure out just what this mystery monster was. But how? I asked.
Nereus,
Grover said. I looked at him. What?
isn't that what Apollo told you to do? Find Nereus.
I nodded. I'd completely forgotten my last conversation with the sun god. The old man of the sea, I remembered. I'm supposed to find him and force him to tell us what he knows. But how do I find him? Zoe made a face. Old Nereus, eh? You know him? Thalia asked. My mother was a sea goddess. Yes, I know him. Unfortunately, he is never very hard to find. Just follow the smell. What do you mean? I asked. Come, she said without enthusiasm. I will show thee. I knew I was in trouble when we stopped at the Goodwill drop box. 5 minutes later, Zoe had me outfitted in a ragged flannel shirt and jeans 3 sizes too big, bright red sneakers, and a floppy rainbow hat.
Oh yeah,
Grover said, trying not to bust out laughing.
You look completely inconspicuous now.
Zoe nodded with satisfaction. A typical male vagrant. Thanks a lot, I grumbled. Why am I doing this again? I told thee, to blend in. She led the way back down to the waterfront. After a long time spent searching the docks, Zoe finally stopped in her tracks. She pointed down a pier where a bunch of homeless guys were huddled together in blankets, waiting for the soup kitchen to open for lunch. He will be down there somewhere, Zoe said. He never travels far from the water. He likes to sun himself during the day. How do I know which one is him? Sneak up, she said. Act homeless. You will know him. He will smell different. Great. I didn't want to ask for particulars. And once I find him, grab him, she said, and hold on. He will try anything to get rid of thee. Whatever he does, do not let go. Force him to tell thee about the monster. We've got your back, Thalia said. She picked something off the back of my shirt, a big clump of fuzz that came from who knows where. Ew. On second thought, I don't want your back. But we'll be rooting for you. Grover gave me a big thumbs up. I grumbled how nice it was to have super powerful friends. Then I headed toward the docks. I pulled my hat down and stumbled like I was about to pass out, which wasn't hard, considering how tired I was. I passed our homeless friend from the Embarcadero, who was still trying to warn the other guys about the metal angels from Mars. He didn't smell good, but he didn't smell different. I kept walking. A couple of grimy dudes with plastic grocery bags for hats checked me out as I came close.
Beat it, kid.
One of them muttered. I moved away. They smelled pretty bad, but just the regular old bad. Nothing unusual. There was a lady with a bunch of plastic flamingos sticking out of a shopping cart. She glared at me like I was going to steal her birds. At the end of the pier, a guy who looked about 1,000,000 years old was passed out in a patch of sunlight. He wore pajamas and a fuzzy bathrobe that probably used to be white. He was fat, with a white beard that had turned yellow. Kind of like Santa Claus if Santa had been rolled out of bed and dragged through a landfill. And his smell. As I got closer, I froze. He smelled bad, all right, but ocean bad. Like hot seaweed and dead fish and brine. If the ocean had an ugly side, this guy was it. And I tried not to gag as I sat down near him like I was tired. Santa opened one eye suspiciously. I could feel him staring at me, but I didn't look. I muttered something about stupid school and stupid parents, figuring that might sound reasonable. Santa Claus went back to sleep. I tensed. I knew this was going to look strange. I didn't know how the other homeless people would react, but I jumped Santa Claus. He screamed. I meant to grab him, but he seemed to grab me instead. It was as if he'd never been asleep at all. He certainly didn't act like a weak old man. He had a grip like steel. "Help me!" he screamed as he squeezed me to death.
That's a crime,
One of the other homeless guys yelled.
kid rolling an old man like that.
I rolled all right, straight down the pier until my head slammed into a post. I was dazed for a second, and Nereus's grip slackened. He was making a break for it. Before he could, I regained my senses and tackled him from behind.
I don't have any money.
He tried to get up and run, but I locked my arms around his chest. His rotten fish smell was awful, but I held on. "I don't want money," I said as he fought. "I'm a half-blood. I want information." That just made him struggle harder.
Heroes? Why do you always pick on me?
"Because you know everything!" He growled and tried to shake me off his back. It was like holding on to a roller coaster. He thrashed around, making it impossible for me to keep on my feet, but I gritted my teeth and squeezed tighter. We staggered toward the edge of the pier, and I got an idea. "Oh no!" I said. "Not the water!" My plan worked. Immediately, Nereus yelled in triumph and jumped off the edge.
Yippee!
Together, we plunged into the San Francisco Bay. Night is in the hood. Hey, Dad. He must have been surprised when I tightened my grip, the ocean filling me with extra strength. But Nereus had a few tricks left, too. He changed shape until I was holding a sleek black seal. I've heard people make jokes about trying to hold a greased pig, but I'm telling you, holding on to a seal in the water is harder. Nereus plunged straight down, wriggling and thrashing and spiraling through the dark water. If I hadn't have been Poseidon's son, there's no way I could have stayed with him. Nereus spun and expanded, turning into a killer whale, but I grabbed his dorsal fin as he burst out of the water. A whole bunch of tourists went, "Ooh!" I managed to wave at the crowd.
Yeah, we do this every day here in San Francisco. Nereus plunged into the water and turned into a slimy eel. I started to tie him into a knot until he realized what I was doing and changed back into human form. "Why won't you drown?" he wailed, pummeling me with his fists. "I'm Poseidon's son," I said. "Curse that upstart! I was here first!" Finally, he collapsed on the edge of the boat dock. Above us was one of those tourist piers lined with shops, like a mall on water. Nereus was heavy and gasping. I was feeling great. I could have gone on all day. But I didn't tell him that. I wanted him to feel like he'd put up a good fight. My friends ran down the steps of the pier. "You got him!" Zoe said. "You don't have to sound so amazed," I said. Nereus moaned. "Oh, wonderful. An audience for my humiliation. The normal deal, I suppose. You'll let me go if I answer your question." "I've got more than one question," I said. "Only one question per capture. That's the rule." I looked at my friends. This wasn't good. I needed to find Artemis, and I needed to figure out what the doomsday creature was. I also needed to know if Annabeth was still alive, and how to rescue her. How could I ask all of that in one question? A voice inside me was screaming, "Ask about Annabeth!" That's what I cared about most. But then I imagined what Annabeth might say. She would never forgive me if I saved her and didn't save Olympus. Zoe would want me to ask about Artemis, but Chiron had told us the monster was even more important. I sighed. "All right, Nereus. Tell me where to find this terrible monster that could bring an end to the gods. The one Artemis was hunting." The old man of the sea smiled, showing off his mossy green teeth. "Oh, that's too easy," he said evilly. "He's right there." Nereus pointed to the water at my feet. "Where?" I said. "The deal is complete," Nereus gloated. With a pop, he turned into a goldfish and did a backflip into the sea. "You tricked me!" I yelled. "Wait!" Thalia's eyes widened. "What is that?" I looked down, and there was my friend, the cow serpent, swimming next to the dock. She nudged my shoe and gave me the sad brown eyes. "Ah, Bessie," I said, "not now." Grover gasped. "He says his name isn't Bessie." "You can understand her? Him?" Grover nodded. "It's a very old form of animal speech, but he says his name is the Ophiotaurus." "The what?" "It means serpent bowl in Greek." "Oh, it means serpent bowl in Greek," Thalia said. "What's it doing here?" "He says Percy is his protector," Grover announced. "And he's running from the bad people. He says they are close." I was wondering how you got all that out of a single moo. "Wait," Zoe said, looking at me. "You know this cow?" I was feeling impatient, but I told them the story. Thalia shook her head in disbelief. "And you just forgot to mention this before?" "Well, yeah. It seemed silly now that she had said it, but things had happened so fast.
Bessie, the Ophiotaurus, seemed like a minor detail. I am a fool, Zoe said suddenly. I know this story. What story? From the War of the Titans, she said. My father told me this tale thousands of years ago. This is the beast we are looking for. Bessie? I looked down at the bull serpent. But he's too cute. He couldn't destroy the world. That is how we were wrong, Zoe said. We've been anticipating a huge, dangerous monster. But the Ophiotaurus does not bring down the gods that way. He must be sacrificed. Bessie lowed. I don't think he likes the S word, Grover said. I patted Bessie on the head, trying to calm him down. He let me scratch his ear, but he was trembling. How could anyone hurt him? I said. He's harmless. Zoe nodded. But there is power in killing innocents. Terrible power. The fates ordained a prophecy eons ago, when this creature was born. They said that whoever killed the Ophiotaurus and sacrificed its entrails to fire would have the power to destroy the gods. Grover said. Maybe we could avoid talking about entrails. Thalia stared at the cow serpent with wonder. The power to destroy the gods. How? I mean, what would happen? No one knows, Zoe said. The first time, during the Titan War, Ophiotaurus was in fact slain by a giant ally of the Titans. But thy father, Zeus, sent an eagle to snatch the entrails away, before they could be tossed into the fire. It was a close call. Now, after 3,000 years, the Ophiotaurus is reborn. Thalia sat down on the dock. She stretched out her hand. Bessie went right to her. Thalia placed her hand on his head. Bessie shivered. Thalia's expression bothered me. She almost looked hungry. We have to protect him, I told her. If Luke gets a hold of him... Luke wouldn't hesitate, Thalia muttered. The power to overthrow Olympus. That's huge.
Yes, it is, my dear, said a man's voice in a heavy French accent. And it is a power you shall unleash. You shall unleash.
The Ophiotaurus made a whimpering sound and submerged. I looked up. We'd been so busy talking. We'd allowed ourselves to be ambushed. Standing behind us, his two-color eyes gleaming wickedly, was Dr. Thorne, the Manticore himself.
This is just perfect.
The Manticore gloated. He was wearing a ratty black trench coat over his Westover Hall uniform, which was torn and stained. His military haircut had grown out spiky and greasy. He hadn't shaved recently, so his face was covered in silver stubble. Basically, he didn't look much better than the guys down at the soup kitchen.
Long ago, the gods banished me to Persia, the Manticore said. I was forced to scrounge for food on the edges of the world, hiding in forests, devouring insignificant human farmers for my meals. I never got to fight any great heroes. I was not feared and admired in the old stories. But now, that will change. The Titans shall honor me, and I shall feast on the flesh of half-bloods. On the other side of him stood 2 armed security guys. Some of the mortal mercenaries I'd seen in DC. 2 more stood on the next boat dock over, just in case we tried to escape that way. Aw, good night, Caro. Thanks so much for joining. I pray you sleep well and wake up the next morning feeling refreshed. There were tourists all around, walking down the waterfront, shopping at the pier above us, but I knew that wouldn't stop the manticore from attacking. Where are the skeletons? I asked the manticore. He sneered. I do not need those foolish undead. The general thinks I am worthless. He will change his mind when I defeat you myself. I needed time to think. I had to save Bessie. I could dive into the sea, but how could I make a quick getaway with a 500-pound cow serpent? And what about my friends? We beat you once, I said. Ha! You could barely fight me with a goddess on your side. And, alas, that goddess is preoccupied at the moment. There will be no help for you now. Zoe notched an arrow and aimed it straight at the manticore's head. The guards on either side of us raised their guns. Wait, I said. Zoe, don't. The manticore smiled. The boy is right. Zoe Nightshade, put away your bow. It would be a shame to kill you before you witnessed Thalia's great victory. What are you talking about? Thalia growled. She had her shield and spear ready. Surely. There, the manticore said. This is your moment. This is why Lord Kronos brought you back to life. You will sacrifice the Ophiotaurus. You'll bring its entrails to the sacred fire on the mountain. You will gain unlimited power. And for your 16th birthday, you will overthrow Olympus. No one spoke. It made terrible sense. Thalia was only 2 days away from turning 16. She was a child of the Big Three. And here was a choice. A terrible choice that could mean the end of the gods. It was just like the prophecy said. I wasn't sure if I felt relieved, horrified, or disappointed. I wasn't the prophecy kid after all. Doomsday was happening right now. I waited for Thalia to tell the manticore off, but she hesitated. She looked completely stunned. You know it is the right choice, the manticore told her. Your friend Luke recognized it. You shall be reunited with him. You shall rule this world together under the auspices. What?
Auspices. Auspices? Auspices. Auspices. Auspices.
Auspices of the Titans. Your father abandoned you, Thalia. He cares nothing for you, and you shall gain power over him. Crush the Olympians underfoot, as they deserve. Call the beast. It will come to you. Use your spear.
Thalia, I said, snap out of it. She looked at me the same way she had the morning she woke up on Half-Blood Hill. Dazed and uncertain. It was almost like she didn't know me. I don't... Your father helped you, I said. He sent the metal angels. He turned you into a tree to preserve you. Her hand tightened on the shaft of her spear. I looked at Grover desperately. Thank the gods he understood what I needed. He raised his pipes to his mouth and played a quick riff. The Manticore yelled, "Stop him!" The guards had been targeting Zoe. Before they could figure out that the kid with the pipes was the bigger problem, the wooden planks on their feet sprouted new branches and tangled their legs. Zoe let loose 2 quick arrows that exploded out their feet in clouds of sulfurous yellow smoke. Fart arrows. The guards started coughing. The Manticore shot spines in our direction, but they ricocheted off my lion's coat. "Grover," I said, "tell Bessie to dive deep and stay down." "Moo, moo," Grover translated. I could only hope that Bessie got the message. "The cow," Thalia muttered, still in a daze. "Come on." I pulled her along as we ran up the stairs to the shopping center on the pier. We dashed around the corner of the nearest store. I heard the Manticore shouting at his minions. "Get them!" Taurus screamed as the guards shot blindly into the air. We scrambled to the end of the pier. We hid behind a little kiosk filled with souvenir crystals, wind chimes and dream catchers and stuff like that, glittering in the sunlight. There was a water fountain next to us. Down below, a bunch of sea lions were sunning themselves on the rocks. The whole of San Francisco Bay spread out before us. The Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz Island, and the green hills and fog beyond that to the north. A picture-perfect moment, except for the fact that we were about to die, and the world was going to end. "Over the side," Zoe told me. "You can escape in the sea, Percy. Call on thy father for help. Maybe you can save the Ophiotaurus." She was right, but I couldn't do it. "I won't leave you guys," I said. "We fight together." "You have to get word to camp," Grover said. "At least let them know what's going on." Then I noticed the crystals making rainbows in the sunlight. There was a drinking fountain next to me. "Get word to camp," I muttered. "Good idea." I uncapped Riptide and slashed off the top of the water fountain. Water burst out of the busted pipes and sprayed all over us. Thalia gasped as the water hit her. The fog seemed to clear from her eyes. "Are you crazy?" she asked. But Grover understood. He was already fishing around in his pockets for a coin. He threw a golden drachma into the rainbows created by the mist and yelled, "O goddess, accept my offering!" The mist rippled. "Camp Half-Blood," I said, and there, shimmering in the mist right next to us, was the last person I wanted to see. Mr. D, wearing his leopard skin jogging suit and rummaging through the refrigerator. He looked up lazily. "Do you mind?"
Where's Chiron? I shouted. How rude. Mr. D took a swig from a jug of grape juice. Is that how you say hello? Hello, I amended. We're about to die. Where's Chiron? Mr. D considered that. I wanted to scream at him to hurry up, but I knew that wouldn't work. Behind us, footsteps and shouting. The Manticore's troops were closing in. About to die, Mr. D mused. How exciting. I'm afraid Chiron isn't here. Would you like me to take a message? I looked at my friends. We're dead. Thalia gripped her spear. She looked like her old angry self again. Then we'll die fighting. How noble. Mr. D said, stifling a yawn. So what is the problem exactly? I didn't see that it would make any difference, but I told him about the Ophiotaurus. He studied the contents of the fridge. So that's it. I see. You don't even care! I screamed. You just as soon watch us die! Let's see. I'm thinking I'm in the mood for pizza tonight. I wanted to slash through the rainbow and disconnect, but I didn't have time. The Manticore screamed, There! And we were surrounded. 2 of the guards stood behind him. The other 2 approached on the roofs of the pier's shops above us. The Manticore threw off his coat and transformed into his true self. His lion claws extended and his spiky tail bristling with poison barbs. Excellent, he said. He glanced at the apparition in the mist and snorted. Alone, without any real help. Wonderful. You could ask for help, Mr. D murmured to me, as if this was an amusing thought. You could say please. When wild boars fly, I thought. There was no way I was going to die begging a slob like Mr. D just so he could laugh as we all got gunned down. Zoe readied her arrows. Grover lifted his pipes. Thalia raised her shield, and I noticed a tear running down her cheek. Suddenly it occurred to me. This had happened to her before. She had been cornered on Half-Blood Hill. She'd willingly given her life for her friends. But this time, she couldn't save us. How could I let that happen to her? Please, Mr. D, I muttered. Help! Of course, nothing happened. The Manticore grinned. Spare the daughter of Zeus. She will join us soon enough. Kill the others. Kill the others. The others. The men raised their guns, and something strange happened. The Manticore grinned. Oh, something strange happened. You know how you feel when all the blood rushes to your head? It'll like if you hang upside down and turn right side up too quickly. There was a rush like that all around me, and a sound like a huge sigh. The sunlight tinged with purple. I smelled grapes, and something more sour. Wine. It was the sound of many minds breaking at the same time. The sound of madness. One guard put his pistol between his teeth, like it was a bone, then ran around on all fours. 2 others dropped their guns and started waltzing with each other. The 4th began doing what looked like an Irish clogging dance. It would have been funny if it hadn't have been so terrifying. No! screamed the manticore. I will deal with you myself. His tail bristled, but the planks under his paws erupted into grapevines, which immediately began wrapping around the monster's body, sprouting new leaves and clusters of green baby grapes that ripened in seconds as the manticore shrieked, until he was fully engulfed in a huge mass of vines, leaves, and full clusters of purple grapes. Finally, the grapes stopped shivering, and I had the feeling that somewhere inside there, the manticore was no more. Well, said Dionysus, closing his refrigerator, that was fun. I stared at him, horrified. How did you... Such gratitude, he muttered. The mortals will come out of it. Too much explaining to do if I made their condition permanent. I hate writing reports to your father. Or I hate writing reports to father. He stared resentfully at Thalia. I hope you learned your lesson, girl. It isn't easy to resist power, is it? Thalia blushed as if she were ashamed. Mr. D, Grover said in amazement. You saved us. Mm-hmm. Don't make me regret it, Satyr. Now get going, Percy Jackson. I bought you a few hours at most. The Ophiotaurus, I said. Can you get it to camp? Mr. D sniffed. I do not transport livestock. That's your problem. But where do we go? Dionysus looked at Zoe. Oh, I think the huntress knows. You must enter at sunset today, you know, or all is lost. Now goodbye. My pizza is waiting. Mr. D, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You called me by my right name, I said. You called me Percy Jackson. I most certainly did not, Peter Johnson. Now off with you. He waved his hand, and the image disappeared in the mist. All around us, the Manticore's minions were still acting completely nuts. One of them had found our friend, the homeless guy, and they were having a serious conversation about metal angels from Mars. Several other guards were harassing the tourists, making animal noises and trying to steal their shoes. I looked at Zoe. What did he mean? You know where to go? Her face was the color of the fog. She pointed across the bay, past the Golden Gate. In the distance, a single mountain rose up above the cloud layer. The garden of my sisters, she said. I must go home. Dang! Let's go, Mr. D! Woo! Oh! Yes, dude. Good guy D? Good guy D? What? Honest to goodness. I love the, I don't know, just that like the concept of Dionysus in general. Not even necessarily how he's portrayed here, but in general, like the idea of a god, like an all-powerful being that just doesn't care most of the time is wild. And I think it's one of those situations where, like for me, right, I don't swear very often because if I do swear, I want it to have weight, right? I want it to make an impact. I want it to do what swear words are meant to do, in my opinion. But Mr. D has a similar thing, right? Where
he gives off this vibe that he doesn't care, that he'd rather just party and waste away his immortal life. But it makes those moments where he comes in and actually does care and does something heroic, it makes those moments so much more impactful, carries so much more weight. Sorry, I needed to harken on that at the very least as I start to talk about that chapter. Dang. Dionysus. Ooh. Ooh. Called Dionysian philosophy. Dionysian philosophy. Philosophy. Heck yeah. I bet there is. I think it might go by another name. Hedonism? Rimnug! Rim! Dude. Thank you. Sincerely, that was... What was it, 10? 10 gift subs. Remdog, that means the world to me. Thank you so much. Again, especially on nights like these, like with my little Percy Jackson streams, I expect them to be smaller, and I certainly don't ever expect something like that on these nights. Thank you, man. From the bottom of this merry little soul, thank you. You certainly don't have to, but that's what makes it special. It is a gift. I'm immensely grateful for it. Oh goodness. Did you have anything in mind that you might want me to read? I know the plan was to get onto this third chapter, but if there's something that you would rather hear, I'd love to give you that option. Right on. Take your time, dude. Man, that really does mean a lot. There weren't enough kids at the summer camp that I work at for me to work this week. So I'm and I'm not saying this to get pity or anything like that, but I won't have like my usual weekly income, or the bi-monthly income is going to be much less than it normally is these upcoming 2 weeks. So hey, every penny counts. Thank you. Man, what a good time too. After a chapter like that. I certainly felt if any of the chapters were deserving of something like that, it was 15. If you'd really like me to, man. It's up to you. Ooh. Oh, Moot the Griffins. I could try doing it in a different accent or something. Can do it in, yeah, the Stewie accent. Blah. Or the Brian accent. Sorry, the Brian. Or you can do the hey, the Joe accent. Hey, what's going on here? What kind of tomfoolery is this? Giving 10 gift subs like it's nothing. What in the world, Peter? Do it again like Joe. All right. Let me bring it up. I really ought to have bookmarked it. Moot the Griffins. Oh baby. Let's see. This was the one. No. The open image in new tab. Oh goodness. Hang on. There's probably a better. Oh, I found the full image. Alright, thank you for bearing with me. It's still here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude. You know what time it is. I'm Lois. 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 Moot the Griffins. Moot the Griffins. Please. Alright, hang on. I do need to zoom out for a moment so that I can read it. What? Alright. Moot the Griffins. Peter. So big. Lava blow. Oof who always soys what's on his mind. Lois, the doting mother, who, Xanta, figuro out why poor baby Ron Coop's trying to kill her. Thal's daughter, Mog, the tune drama queen, who's constantly on bow roast by her family. Chris, the boofy 13-year-old who woofed in hurt a fly unless if landed on his hot dog. Stewie, unless it landed on his hot dog. Stewie, the maniacal. Oh no, yicker. Old bunt, unword domination, and Brian, the Rorschach dog, with a wit as dry as the martinis o drinks. The armada adventures of this outrageous family will have a year hollow family laughing out loud. Oh yeah, was Moot the Griffins. Moot. Moot. Lois. Lois. Lois, 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 Lois. Lois, Lois, Lois. Okay. Thank you, thank you. That'll be all for the Moot the Griffin's performance. Honestly, better than all the Percy Jackson books. And every short story that has been read on this channel. Maybe I should have a Moot the Griffins button down below. You can spend like 3,000 channel points to make me read Moot the Griffins. I could get down with that. Well, guys, if I don't need a break after that, then I must be inhuman. Moot the Griffin's Monday. Was it Monday last time too? I forget. Whew. So beautiful. So beautiful. That would be pretty good. Snap, dude. Have it be a weekly thing. Just, I won't even say like when in the day or in the stream we'll do it, but I'll just bring it up at a random point. Read through it right quick. Well, right on. It is getting a little late. I'm more than happy to, and I'm planning on reading another chapter. But I wanted to make sure that you guys are down to stay up with me. I doubt we'll go further than like 12:30 our time over here. But I don't know if peeps are feeling sleepy. And we got a bit of a doozy of a next chapter. Yeah, it's about 20 pages. But it's called We Meet the Dragon of Eternal Bad Breath. So, got that to look forward to. Heck yeah. Then I'd like to read another chapter. See what Zoe's home is all about. The Hesperides? What is it? Hesperides? Hesperides. Hesperides. The home of the Hesperides. The daughters of the sea goddess. It's with a D at the end there. But heck, good memory, dude. I was waiting for it. I saw it coming this time. Won't got him this time, but still a brilliant joke. Alright. So guys, we're gonna jump to another break. It's about 11, it's 26 past the hour where I am. Just broke my hand. It's 26 past the hour where I'm at. So I'll be back no later than 36 past the hour. Sound like a plan? Right on. Let's go ahead and do it. Hope you guys enjoyed the break. As always, please stand up. Shake out your troubles and tribulations. Stretch a little bit, walk down the hall, get yourself some water, do something. But please stand up out of your chair. It's important that when we're sitting here for even an hour's time, that we get up every once in a while. So, I'm gonna go relieve myself, make some water, stretch out myself, and we'll be back for chapter 16. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't go nowhere, my wildflowers. We'll be swaying again very soon. Be right back.
Persisting heaviness feels like pouring rain. Why must you persist? Oh, heaviness feels like pouring rain. Holding up this weight, this weight might break. This weight might break me. I stopped answering calls. Had to get more involved with finding myself. I'm two hands away from flowers at my funeral. Here lies the main. I'm two hands away from eulogies, but I don't wanna die today. It was said he's too young to be a martyr. Never got the chance to live free of the trauma. Never trusted him unless it was his father. Hope it's true what they said about karma. Cause I'm a degenerate and my meds don't work. I'm always skipping school cause Jack is on my shirt. I act up cause my liver only keeps getting so worse. And I act up cause all my friends keep taking rides in a hearse. So fuck church, I'm hurt, that burnt, need more paranoid. Don't lose faith in me, boy, I'm annoyed. I avoid and I'm sorry that I toyed with your heart. We apart, now I'm hurt and that burnt. I need more, give me more or I'll die. I'm afraid I won't survive and I tried, fuck I tried. Now I'm lying on the street, need a ride to get high. I can't stand being me, need a ride to get high. I can't stand being me. Fuck. Persisting feels like pouring rain. Why must you persist? Oh, heaviness feels like pouring rain. Holding up this weight might break. This weight might break. Look, I create to distract myself from the fact that when I look at myself, I avoid eye contact. I feel like I overact, worried to death of the traits that I lack. Get rid of these flashbacks. I didn't ask to go back. Stand back and look back at all of my setbacks. So many times I have turned back to kick that, grabbed onto my drawbacks and come back to cut back. But how can the stats act like me cut back when I keep all of my drawbacks in my backpack? Like a bunch of fucking useless knickknacks. I'm sure I'll bounce back. But for now, guess I'll just hang back. I feel this ice. Eyes have been taken calls. Had to be love involved with finding myself too high to pull me break. Holding this weight might break. This weight might break me, but I don't wanna die today. Never got the chance to live free of the drama. He's too young to be a martyr. Never got the chance to live free of the trauma.
Thank you for everything.
I told you I wasn't right for you, but at least I said I'd be true. I told you I wasn't right for you, but I still lied. I knew I wasn't right, but I still let you hold me tight. When you realized and said goodbye, I cried out thank you for everything, for everything, for everything, for everything, for everything, for everything, for everything.
Thank you for everything.
I told you I wasn't right for you, but at least I said I'd be true. I told you I wasn't right for you, but I still lied. I knew I wasn't right, but I still let you hold me tight. When you realized and said goodbye, I cried out thank you for everything.
What you playing? I had an idea. Well, a song idea, but also an idea.
Let's hear it.
Yes, please.
I don't need you. I don't need you.
Room for 3 more?
I don't need you. But I want you to love me. I don't need you. But I want you to know me. Change your mind.
What
what if something bad happens?
Well, what if something good happens?
I need you. Need you. I need you.
Always.
I need you.
Always.
Need you. I need you.
Always. So why didn't you just come back?
I want to, but I just. I need you. Need you. I need you.
Always.
I need you.
Always.
Need you. I need you.
Always. Let's hear it.
I might have overreacted. Need you.
Alright, that's enough of that hullabaloo. Heck yeah, dude. I'm a big fan of that one. It's my favorite song from the series. So, figured I think it was not this summer, but the last summer. The summer before this one. I decided to make a summer banger. How's everybody doing? How are we feeling? I feel refreshed and ready for this next chapter. It's got a nice groove to it. It's kind of, I don't know, it's one of the only like kind of EDM style ones that I've created that I actually like. Heck yeah, man. Those are some goodies. I need to post up the sci-fi one, the Mary Mitch intro and outro, and the the Simp Saturday intro as well. I gotta get those up on Spotify and SoundCloud. I've honest to goodness, I've been meaning to do that, and I think I'll actually have time this week. As I said, I'll be off from work, except for Friday. Heck yeah, man. It's a good one. I'm dang proud of that one. Oh, there will come soft rains and the smell of ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound. Oh yeah, it's a solid one. I think my favorite part in the whole thing is the either the ending with the and spring herself when she woke at dawn would scarcely know that we were gone. Gone. We were gone. The solid part. I'm pretty proud of the beat instrument, or the beat I was able to achieve for the drop part. Pretty solid. Okay, so it's actually manual tune. Funnily enough, Logic Pro has this feature where you can go in and do this thing that they call flex pitch, where you manually tune each of your each of the notes that you hit when you sing. or each of the notes that are in a recording. It's pretty wild, dude. And you can take out the vibrato, which oddly enough is a lot of time what gives it that sort of droid-esque feel to it. It's a really cool thing. And if you drop it an octave or two lower than it's meant to be, it gives it that like that that jittery that jittery droid effect. I don't know. I'd have to like show you or you didn't know for sure what I'm talking about, but it's pretty darn sweet. Whenever I discovered it about 3 years ago, it's been something that I do with most of my songs. In fact, one of the only ones that I haven't done that with have been the Mary Mitch intro and the one that I'm working on now, A Sky's Mistake. Your true love for robots? I mean, robots are great. I guess it's good that you love them. Take care of them, dude. When they become sentient, they'll return the favor, I think. Maybe. We'll see. Until earlier this year. And are you just talking about like robot like characters and robots, like drawings of robots and like characterized robots, or are you talking about just legitimate robots that we have IRL? Heck yeah. All of it. All the robots. All of the robots. Robots. Golly, guys. You see that? How far we are into this book already. The lower half is what we have left. Whew. John Ava's. Let's go. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, if we were gonna be if we were gonna be continuing the Lancers campaign, I would have loved it if you could have drawn, I don't know, drawn some of our mechs or something. That would have been sick. But that is another thing. There is, I guess it's not official yet. Is it official? Sorry, I probably would be. It would be good to consult with Mr. Ninja Cat or Cade, our DM first, but I believe we're going to focus our efforts on the Lost Sons archive campaign, and leave the Lancers campaign for a while, and maybe do something with it later on. But the switching back and forth, I think, is abrupt and confusing for us as players, and I can only assume it's the same for the viewers. Heck yeah, dude. I love the concept of Lancers, but Kate has said that he doesn't feel quite as inspired by the world of Lancers, and that that system in general. He hasn't been as inspired by that as he has been with the Lost Sons archive. And if I know anything, it's that a happy DM makes for a happy game. So for the most part, it's I don't know, whatever Cade has going on, that's what I want to do. Yeah, man, and I would love to. I'll be missing good old Podrick and Cosmo. Good old Cosmo. He's a good little monkey, isn't he? Or sorry, yeah, frick. I meant chimp. You know what I meant, Cosmo. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like... I know. Heck yeah. Ah. But I will say, I have absolutely fallen in love with Brittle and the band of adventurers from Lost Sons Archives. Ah. But I think I think that just comes from like the fact that whenever I create a character that I'm meant to play, and it's up to me to craft him and decide how he is, and where his story is from and where he's from and all that jazz, feels much more personal, and thus I tend to love him even more than if I took on just like an acting role or something. Ah. Yeah, but Tug, Aziz, Haj, and good old Diddy. We got a good band. Well, alright, dudes. We ready for this next chapter? It's bound to be a doozy, so let's go ahead and hop into it. I think we'll probably finish this book this week. Yeah, no, we'll finish this book this week. It's flippin' exciting. Heckums, yes. Heckums, yes. Let's go. Sorry, I saw that and I got excited. I do a lot of like heck yes and like oh frick yes and stuff like that, but I haven't thought of heckums, yeah. It's a freaking good one. I like that. So, this is Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan, read by Mary Mitch. Thank you, Keaton. 16. We meet the dragon of eternal bad breath. We'll never make it, Zoe said. We are moving too slow. But we cannot leave the Ophiotaurus. Bessie said. We left the shopping center pier far behind. We were heading toward the Golden Gate Bridge, but it was a lot further off than I'd realized. The sun was already dipping in the west. I don't get it, I said. Why do we have to get there at sunset? The Hesperides are the nymphs of the sunset, Zoe said. We can only enter the garden as day changes to night. What happens if we miss it? Tomorrow is winter solstice. If we miss sunset tonight, we would have to wait until tomorrow evening. And by then, the Olympian Council will be over. We must free Lady Artemis tonight. Or Annabeth will be dead, I thought. But I didn't say that. We need a car. We need a car, Thalia said. But what about Bessie? I asked. Grover stopped in his tracks. I've got an idea. The Ophiotaurus can appear in different bodies of water, right? Well, yeah, I said. I mean, he was in Long Island Sound, then he just popped into the water at Hoover Dam, and now he's here. So maybe we could coax him back to Long Island Sound, Grover said. Then Chiron could help us get him to Olympus. But he was following me, I said. If I'm not there, would he know where he's going? Bessie said forlornly. I can show him, Grover said. I'll go with him. I stared at Grover. Grover was no fan of water. He'd almost drowned last summer in the Sea of Monsters.
and he couldn't swim very well with his goat hooves. I'm the only one who can talk to him, Grover said. It makes sense. He bent down and said something in Bessie's ear. Bessie shivered, then made a contented, lowing sound. The blessing of the wild, Grover said. That should help with safe passage. Percy, pray to your dad, too. See if he will grant us safe passage through the seas. I didn't understand how they could possibly swim back to Long Island from California. Then again, monsters didn't travel the same way humans did. I'd seen plenty evidence of that. I tried to concentrate on the waves, the smell of the ocean, the sound of the tide. Dad, I said, help us. Get the Ophiotaurus and Grover safely to camp. Protect them at sea. A prayer like that needs a sacrifice, Dahlia said. Something big. I thought for a second. Then I took off my coat. Percy, Grover said, are you sure? That lion's skin, that's really helpful. Hercules used it. As soon as he said that, I realized something. I glanced at Zoe, who was watching me carefully. I realized I did know who Zoe's hero had been. The one who'd ruined her life, gotten her kicked out of her family, and never mentioned how she'd helped him. Hercules, a hero I'd admired all my life. If I'm going to survive, I said, it won't be because I got a lion skin cloak. I'm not Hercules. I threw the coat into the bay. It turned back into a golden lion skin, flashing in the light. Then, as it began to sink beneath the waves, it seemed to dissolve into the sunlight. The sea breeze picked up. Grover took a deep breath. Well, no time to lose. He jumped in the water and immediately began to sink. Bessie glided next to him and let Grover take hold of his neck. Be careful, I told them. We will, Grover said. Okay, Bessie, we're going to Long Island. It's east, over that way. Bessie said. Yes, Grover answered. Long Island. It's this island, and, it's long. Oh, let's just start. Bessie lurched forward. He started to submerge, and Grover said, I can't breathe underwater. Just thought I'd mention. Under they went, and I hoped my father's protection would extend to little things like breathing. Well, that is one problem addressed, Zoe said. But how can we get to my sister's garden? Dahlia's right, I said. We need a car. But there's nobody to help us here. Unless we, borrowed one. I didn't like that option. I mean, sure, this was a life or death situation, but still, it was stealing, and it was bound to get us noticed. Wait, Dahlia said. She was rifling through her backpack. There is somebody in San Francisco who can help us. I've got the address here somewhere. Who? I asked. Dahlia pulled out a crumpled piece of notebook paper and held it up. Professor Chase, Annabeth's dad. After hearing Annabeth gripe about her dad for 2 years, I was expecting him to have devil horns and fangs. I was not expecting him to be wearing an old-fashioned aviator's cap and goggles. He looked so weird.
with his eyes bugging out through the glasses, that we all took a step back on the front porch. "Hello," he said in a friendly voice. "Are you delivering my airplanes?" Thalia, Zoe, and I looked at each other warily.
No, sir."
"Drat," he said. "I need 3 more Sopwith camels."
"Right,"
I said, though I had no clue what he was talking about.
"We're friends of Annabeth."
"Annabeth?" He straightened, as if I'd just given him an electric shock. "Is she all right? Has something happened?" None of us answered, but our faces must have told him that something was very wrong. He took off his cap and goggles. He had sandy-colored hair like Annabeth and intense brown eyes. He was handsome, I guess, for an older guy, but it looked like he hadn't shaved in a couple of days, and his shirt was buttoned wrong, so one side of his collar stuck up higher than the other. "You'd better come in," he said. It didn't look like a house they'd just moved into. There were Lego robots on the stairs and 2 cats sleeping on the sofa in the living room. The coffee table was stacked with magazines, and a little kid's winter coat was spread on the floor. The whole house smelled like fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies. There was jazz music coming from the kitchen. It seemed like a messy, happy kind of home. The kind of place that had been lived in forever.
"Dad!"
A little boy screamed.
"He's taking apart my robots!"
"Bobby," Dr. Chase called absently, "don't take apart your brother's robots."
"I'm Bobby!"
The little boy protested.
"He's Matthew!"
"Matthew," Dr. Chase called, "don't take apart your brother's robots."
"Okay, Dad."
Dr. Chase turned to us. "We'll go upstairs to my study. This way."
"Honey?"
a woman called. Annabeth's stepmom appeared in the living room, wiping her hands on the dish towel. She was a pretty Asian woman with red highlighted hair tied in a bun.
"Who are our guests?"
she asked. "Oh," Dr. Chase said. "This is..." He stared at us blankly.
"Frederick," she chided. "You forgot to ask them their names?"
We introduced ourselves a little uneasily, but Mrs. Chase seemed really nice. She asked if we were hungry. We admitted we were. She told us she'd bring us some cookies and sandwiches and sodas. "Dear," Dr. Chase said, "they came about Annabeth." I half expected Mrs. Chase to turn into a raving lunatic at the mention of her stepdaughter, but she just pursed her lips and looked concerned.
"All right. Go on up to the study, and I'll bring you some food."
She smiled at me.
"Nice to meet you, Percy. I've heard a lot about you."
Upstairs, we walked into Dr. Chase's study, and I said, "Whoa." The room was wall-to-wall books, but what really caught my attention were the war toys. There was a huge table with miniature tanks and soldiers fighting along a blue-painted river, with hills and fake trees and stuff. Old-fashioned biplanes hung on strings from the ceiling, tilted at crazy angles like they were in the middle of a dogfight. Dr. Chase smiled. "Yes, the Third Battle of Ypres. Now, I'm writing a paper, you see, on the use of Sopwith camels to strafe enemy lines. I believe they played a much greater role than they've been given credit for." He plucked a biplane from the string and swept it across the battlefield, making airplane engine noises as he knocked down little German soldiers.
Oh, right, I said. I knew Annabeth's dad was a professor of military history. She never mentioned he played with toy soldiers. Zoe came over and studied the battlefield. The German lines were further from the river. Dr. Chase stared at her. How do you know that? I was there, she said matter-of-factly. Artemis wanted to show us how horrible war was. The way mortal men fight each other. And how foolish, too. The battle was a complete waste. Dr. Chase opened his mouth in shock. You... She's a hunter, sir, Thalia said. But that's not why we're here. We need... You saw the sop with camels, Dr. Chase said. How were they? How many were they? What formations did they fly in? Sir, Thalia broke in again. Annabeth is in danger. That got his attention. He set the biplane down. Of course, he said. Tell me everything. It wasn't easy, but we tried. Meanwhile, the afternoon light was fading outside. We were running out of time. When we'd finished, Dr. Chase collapsed in his leather recliner. He laced his hands. My poor, brave Annabeth. We must hurry. Sir, we need transportation to Mount Tamalapias. Tamalapias, Zoe said. And we need it immediately. I'll drive you. It would be faster to fly in my camel, but it only has 2 seats. Whoa, you have an actual biplane? I said. Down at Percy Field, Dr. Chase said proudly. That's the reason I had to move here. My sponsor is a private collector with some of the finest World War I relics in the world. He let me restore the Sopwith camel, and... Sir, Thalia said, just a car would be great. And it might be better if we went without you. It's too dangerous. Dr. Chase frowned uncomfortably. Now wait a minute, young lady. Annabeth is my daughter. Dangerous or not, I can't just... Snacks, Mrs. Chase announced. She pushed through the door with a tray full of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Cokes and cookies fresh out of the oven. The chocolate chips still gooey. Thalia and I inhaled a few cookies while Zoe said, I can drive, sir. I'm not as young as I look. I promise not to destroy your car. Mrs. Chase knit her eyebrows. What's this about? Annabeth is in danger, Dr. Chase said. On Mount Tom. I would drive them, but apparently it's no place for mortals. It sounded like it was really hard for him to get the last part out. I waited for Mrs. Chase to say no. I mean, what mortal parent would allow 3 underage teenagers to borrow their car? To my surprise, Mrs. Chase nodded. Then they'd better get going. Right. Dr. Chase jumped up and started patting his pockets. My keys. His wife sighed. Frederick, honestly, you'd lose your head if it weren't wrapped inside your aviator hat. The keys are hanging on the peg by the front door. Right, Dr. Chase said. Zoe grabbed a sandwich. Thank you both. We should go. Now. We hustled out the door and down the stairs, the Chases right behind us. Percy, Mrs. Chase called as I was leaving. Tell Annabeth. Tell her she still has a home here, will you? Remind her of that. I took one last look at the messy living room. Annabeth's half-brothers spilling Legos and arguing.
the smell of cookies filling the air. Not a bad place, I thought. I'll tell her, I promised. We ran out to the yellow VW convertible, parked in the driveway. The sun was going down. I figured we had less than an hour to save Annabeth. Can't this thing go any faster? Thalia demanded. Zoe glared at her. I cannot control traffic. You both sound like my mother, I said. Shut up, they said in unison. Zoe weaved in and out of traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge. The sun was sinking on the horizon when we finally got into Marin County and exited the highway. The roads were insanely narrow, winding through forests and up the sides of hills and around the edges of steep ravines. Zoe didn't slow down at all. Why does everything smell like cough drops? I asked. Eucalyptus. Zoe pointed to the huge trees all around us. The stuff koala bears eat? And monsters, she said. They love chewing the leaves, especially dragons. Dragons chew eucalyptus leaves? Believe me, Zoe said. If you had dragon breath, you would chew eucalyptus too. I didn't question her, but I did keep my eyes peeled more closely as we drove. Ahead of us loomed Mount Tamalpais. I guess in terms of mountains, it was a small one, but it looked plenty huge as we were driving towards it. So, that's the Mountain of Despair? I asked. Yes, Zoe said tightly. Why do they call it that? She was silent for almost a mile before answering. After the war between the Titans and the gods, many of the Titans were punished and imprisoned. Kronos sliced to pieces and thrown into Tartarus. Kronos' right-hand man, the general of his forces, was imprisoned up there, on the summit, just beyond the Garden of the Hesperides. The general, I said. Clouds seemed to be swirling around its peak, as though the mountain was drawing them in, spinning them like a top. What's going on up there? A storm? Zoe didn't answer. I got the feeling she knew exactly what the clouds meant, and she didn't like it. We have to concentrate, Thalia said. The mist is really strong here. The magical kind or the natural kind? I asked. Both. The gray clouds swirled even thicker over the mountain, and we kept driving straight toward them. We were out of the forest now, into wide open spaces of cliffs and grass and rocks and fog. I happened to glance down at the ocean as we passed a scenic curve, and I saw something that made me jump out of my seat. Look! But we turned a corner and the ocean disappeared behind the hills. What? Thalia asked. A big white ship, I said, docked near the beach. It looked like a cruise ship. Her eyes widened. Luke's ship? I wanted to say I wasn't sure. It might be a coincidence, but I knew better. The Princess Andromeda, Luke's demon cruise ship, was docked at the beach. That's why he'd sent his ship all the way down to the Panama Canal. It was the only way to sail it from the East Coast to California. We will have company then, Zoe said grimly. Kronos' army. I was about to answer when suddenly the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Thalia shouted,
Stop the car! Now! Zoe must have sensed something was wrong, because she slammed on the brakes without question. The yellow VW spun twice before coming to a stop at the edge of the cliff. Out! Thalia opened the door and pushed me hard. We both rolled onto the pavement. The next second... boom! Lightning flashed, and Dr. Chase's Volkswagen erupted like a canary yellow grenade. I probably would have been killed by shrapnel, except for Thalia's shield, which appeared over me. I heard a sound like metal rain. When I opened my eyes, we were surrounded by wreckage. Part of the VW's fender had impaled itself in the street. The smoking hood was spinning in circles. Pieces of yellow metal were strewn across the road. I swallowed the taste of smoke out of my mouth and looked at Thalia. You saved my life. One shall perish by a parent's hand, she muttered. Curse him. He would destroy me. Me! It took me a second to realize she was talking about her dad. Oh, hey. That couldn't have been Zeus's lightning bolt. No way. Whose then? Thalia demanded. I don't know. Zoe said Kronos' name. Maybe he... Thalia shook her head, looking angry and stunned. No, that wasn't it. Wait, I said. Where's Zoe? Zoe! Zoe! We both got up and ran around the blasted VW. Nothing inside. Nothing either direction down the road. I looked down the cliff. No sign of her. Zoe! I shouted. Then she was standing right there next to me, pulling me by the arm. Silence, fool! You want to wake Layden? You mean we're here? Very close, she said. Follow me. Sheets of fog were drifting right across the road. Zoe stepped into one of them, and when the fog passed, she was no longer there. Thalia and I looked at each other. Concentrate on Zoe, Thalia advised. We are following her. Go straight into the fog and keep that in mind. Wait, Thalia. About what happened back on the pier. I mean, with the manticore and the sacrifice. I don't want to talk about it. You wouldn't actually have, you know... She hesitated. I was just shocked. That's all. Zeus didn't send that lightning bolt at the car. It was Kronos. He's trying to manipulate you. Make you angry at your dad. She took a deep breath. Percy. I know you're trying to make me feel better. Thanks. But come on. We need to go. She stepped into the fog, into the mist, and I followed. When the fog cleared, I was still on the side of the mountain, but the road was dirt. The grass was thicker. The sunset made a blood-red slash across the sea. The summit of the mountain seemed closer now, swirling with storm clouds and raw power. There was only one path to the top, directly in front of us. And it led through a lush meadow of shadows and flowers, a garden of twilight, just like I'd seen in my dream. If it hadn't have been for the enormous dragon, the garden would have been the most beautiful place I'd ever seen. The grass shimmered with silvery evening light, and the flowers were such brilliant colors, they almost glowed in the dark. Stepping stones of polished black marble led around either side of a 5-story tall apple tree, every bough glittering with golden apples. And I don't mean yellow golden apples like in the grocery store. I mean real golden apples. I can't describe why they were so appealing, but as soon as I smelled their fragrance, I knew that one bite would be the most delicious thing I'd ever tasted. The apples of immortality, Thalia said. Hera's wedding gift from Zeus. I wanted to step right up and pluck one, except for the dragon coiled around the tree. Now, I don't know what you think when I say dragon. Whatever it is, it's not scary enough. The serpent's body was as thick as a booster rocket, glinting with coppery scales. He had more heads than I could count. He appeared to be asleep. He had more heads than I could count, as if 100 deadly pythons had been fused together. He appeared to be asleep. The heads lay curled in a big spaghetti-like mound on the grass, all the eyes closed. Then the shadows in front of us began to move. There was a beautiful, eerie singing, like voices from the bottom of a well. I reached for Riptide, but Zoe stopped my hand. 4 figures shimmered into existence. 4 young women who looked very much like Zoe. They all wore white Greek chittens. Their skin was like caramel. Silky black hair tumbled loosely around their shoulders. It was strange, but I'd never realized how beautiful Zoe was until I saw her siblings, the Hesperides. They looked just like Zoe, gorgeous, and probably very dangerous. "Sisters," Zoe said. "We do not see any sister," one of the girls said coldly. "We see 2 half-bloods and a hunter, all of whom shall soon die." "You've got it wrong," I stepped forward. "Nobody is going to die." The girls studied me. They had eyes like volcanic rock, glassy and completely black. "Perseus Jackson," one of them said. "Yes," mused another. "I do not see why he is a threat." "Who said I was a threat?" The first Hesperid glanced behind her, toward the top of the mountain. "They fear thee. They are unhappy that this one has not killed thee." She pointed at Thalia. "Tempting sometimes," Thalia admitted. "But no thanks. He's my friend." "There are no friends here, daughter of Zeus," the girl said. "Only enemies. Go back." "Not without Annabeth," Thalia said. "And Artemis," Zoe said. "We must approach the mountain." "You know he will kill thee," the girl said. "You are no match for him." "Artemis must be freed," Zoe insisted. "Let us pass." The girl shook her head. You have no rights here anymore. We have only to raise our voices and Layden will wake. He will not hurt me, Zoe said. No? What about thy so-called friends? Then Zoe did the last thing I expected. She shouted, Layden! Wake! The dragon stirred, glittering like a mountain of pennies. The Hesperides yelled and scattered. The lead girl said to Zoe, Are you mad? You never had any courage, sister, Zoe said. That is thy problem. The dragon laden was writhing now, 100 heads whipping around, tongues flickering and tasting the air. Zoe took a step forward, her arms raised. Zoe, don't, Thalia said. You're not a Hesperid anymore. He'll kill you. Layden is trained to protect the tree, Zoe said. Skirt around the edges of the garden. Go up the mountain. As long as I am a bigger threat, he should ignore thee. Should, I said. Not exactly reassuring. It is the only way, she said. Even the three of us together cannot fight him. Layden opened his mouth. The sound of 100 heads hissing at once sent a shiver down my back. And that was before his breath hit me. The smell was like acid. It made my eyes burn, my skin crawl, and my hair stand on end. I remembered the time a rat had died inside our apartment wall in New York in the middle of the summer. This stench was like that, except 100 times stronger, and mixed with the smell of chewed eucalyptus. I promised myself right then that I would never ask a school nurse for another cough drop. I wanted to draw my sword, but then I remembered my dream of Zoe and Hercules, and how Hercules had failed in a head-on assault. I decided to trust Zoe's judgment. Thalia went left. I went right. Zoe walked straight toward the monster. It's me, my little dragon, Zoe said. Zoe has come back. Layden shifted forward, then back. Some of the mouths closed. Some kept hissing. Dragon confusion. Meanwhile, the Hesperides shimmered and turned into shadows. The voice of the eldest whispered, Fool. I used to feed thee by hand, Zoe continued, speaking in a soothing voice as she stepped toward the golden tree. Do you still like lamb's meat? The dragon's eyes glinted. Thalia and I were about halfway around the garden. Ahead, I could see a single rocky trail leading up to the black peak of the mountain. The storm swirled above it, spinning on the summit like it was the axis for the whole world. We'd almost made it out of the meadow when something went wrong. I felt the dragon's mood shift. Maybe Zoe got too close. Maybe the dragon realized he was hungry. Whatever the reason, he lunged at Zoe. 2,000 years of training kept her alive. She dodged one set of slashing fangs and tumbled under another, weaving through the dragon's heads as she ran in our direction, gagging from the monster's horrible breath. I drew Riptide to help. No! Zoe panted. Run! The dragon snapped at her side. and Zoe cried out. Thalia uncovered Aegis, and the dragon hissed. In his moment of indecision, Zoe sprinted past us up the mountains, and we followed. The dragon didn't try to pursue. He hissed and stomped the ground, but I guess he was well trained to guard that tree. He wasn't going to be lured off, even by the tasty prospect of eating some heroes. We ran up the mountain as the Hesperides resumed their song in the shadows behind us. The music didn't sound so beautiful to me now. More like the soundtrack for a funeral. At the top of the mountain were ruins, blocks of black granite and marble as big as houses. Broken columns, statues of bronze that looked as though they'd been half melted. The ruins of Mount Orthus, Thalia whispered in awe. Yes, Zoe said. It was not here before. This is bad. What's Mount Orthus? I asked, feeling like a fool as usual. The mountain fortress of the Titans, Zoe said. In the First War, Olympus and Orthus were the two rival capitals of the world. Orthus was... She winced and held her side. You're hurt, I said. Let me see. No, it's nothing. I was saying, in the First War, Orthus was blasted to pieces. But how is it here? Thalia looked around cautiously as we picked our way through the rubble, past blocks of marble and broken archways. It moves in the same way that Olympus moves. It always exists on the edges of civilization. But the fact that it is here, on this mountain, is not good. Why? This is Atlas's mountain, Zoe said. Where he holds... She froze. Her voice was ragged with despair. Where he used to hold up the sky. We had reached the summit. A few yards ahead of us, gray clouds swirled in a heavy vortex, making a funnel cloud that almost touched the mountain top, but instead rested on the shoulders of a 12-year-old girl with auburn hair and a tattered silvery dress. Artemis, her legs bound to the rock with celestial bronze chains. This is what I had seen in my dream. It hadn't been a cavern roof that Artemis was forced to hold. It was the roof of the world. My lady! Zoe rushed forward, but Artemis said, Stop! It's a trap! You must leave now! You must... Her voice was strained. She was drenched in sweat. I had never seen a goddess in pain before, but the weight of the sky was clearly too much for Artemis. Zoe was crying. She ran forward despite Artemis's protests and tugged at the chains. A booming voice echoed behind us.
How touching.
We turned. The general was standing there in his brown silk suit. At his side were Luke and half a dozen drachnae bearing the golden sarcophagus of Kronos. Annabeth stood at Luke's side. She had her hands cuffed behind her back, a gag in her mouth, and Luke was holding the point of his sword to her throat. I met her eyes, trying to ask her 1,000 questions. There was just one message she was sending me. Run. Luke, Thalia snarled. Let her go! Luke's smile was weak and pale. He looked even worse than he had 3 days ago in D.C. That is the General's decision, Thalia. But it's good to see you again. Thalia spat at him. The General chuckled.
So much for old friends. And you, Zoe. It's been a long time. How is my little traitor? I will enjoy killing you.
Do not respond, Artemis groaned. Do not challenge him. Wait a second, I said. You're Atlas? The General glanced at me.
So, even the stupidest of the heroes can finally figure something out. Yes, I am Atlas, the General of the Titans and the terror of the gods. Congratulations. I will kill you presently, as soon as I deal with this wretched girl.
You're not going to hurt Zoe, I said. I won't let you. The General sneered.
You have no right to interfere, little hero. This is a family matter.
I frowned. A family matter? Yes, Zoe said bleakly. Atlas is my father. No. No. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys understand what this means, right? Goodness, I completely forgot that the General was Atlas. I knew that Artemis and Annabeth were being forced to, like, hold up the world. Also, how did Annabeth hold up the sky? How did she hold up the sky? How did she hold up the sky, though? She is one tough cookie. And poor Artemis, dude. A goddess in pain. And I don't think I would be able to stop myself from, like, running to her and trying to get the chains off. But Zoe especially. Zoe's known Artemis for what? 1,500 years? At least. Goodness, I forgot just how integral Zoe's character is in this book. She's a stubborn girl. That's for sure. Crushes from back when I was a preteen. Annabeth,
from Percy Jackson. Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just saying that now. No girls could top those two from me back when I was 13. From about, yeah, like 10 to 13. Gosh, dude. The moment when Percy's eyes meet Annabeth's. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Not quite as fervently as I was enthralled with Katara and Annabeth, but definitely Hermione too. Shut up, Keaton. Gosh dang it. She would fit the pattern. I mean, it's true though. People have a type. I like, yeah, shoot. Goodness, even looking back, a girl that can overcome hardships, that's what's hot to me. Not even gonna lie. A girl who can stare her demons in the face and approach them and say, "Have at ye." That's what I look for. She'd fit the pattern. You goober. Man, it's weird how like crushes on cartoon characters from back when I was 12 and 13 can affect how I even, how I look for a partner like these days. Wacky. I didn't even think about that. Whew. Huh. Sure enough. Sure enough. Well, guys. What a freaking cliffhanger to leave off on. I'm oddly okay with stopping though. You know, normally when I leave off on things like this, I flip out and I go, no, I need to read more. I need to know. But I think I even probably felt this way when I was younger reading the books. Whenever I finish a chapter like that, where the ending is that intense and has so many unknowns going forward, or has something that super worries me that I feel is going to happen in the next few chapters, but not entirely sure if it will, I get scared to read the next few chapters, dude. Because in my head, it goes a lot better than I think it's about to go in the story. Not gonna lie. Yeah, man. I get that way with shows too. Man, I'm watching through Tokyo, what is it called? Tokyo something or other. One second, I'm gonna mute the ambience. Alright, sorry about that. Japan Sinks 2020. I've been watching that recently, but I literally took a day off from watching it. I don't know if any of you guys have checked that out yet on Netflix, but it is... it reminds me of Tokyo Magnitude. If any of you have seen that one. Or it's called... I think the full title is Tokyo Magnitude 8.0. 8.0. But it has a very similar feel, except it's with new age graphics and just as good writing. It's so freaking not okay, dude. This show is not okay. thinking about it right now is bringing up real not okay feelings. How many are left? Oh, chapters? Thank you. I need something to distract myself from Tokyo Sinks 2020. We're on 17. 4 chapters left. Just this little smidgen. Golly, dude. So yeah, I'm thinking we can finish this book tomorrow. I don't have practice, so I'm thinking we can start a little bit earlier. If you guys will be around. I'm thinking 7. 7 start time. Oh, Snap is right. Not too many left. Snoopy, dude, how you feeling? You've been on that same book a while. Dude, are you even reading? Or do you just kind of like, I don't know, flip through the pages and act like you're reading so that you can ignore me? Is that what's going on here? Because you can tell me. You can talk to me, Snoopy. You know that, right? Yep. Yeah, okay. Okay. Cool, dude. Anyways, it's getting towards the end of the stream here. So, what was your favorite part? I think my favorite part is the moment when Percy meets Annabeth's eyes. Also, the old man of the sea part. Those two. I just love, I don't know, old man characters. Those are some of my favorite voices to do. I will say, I've been struggling recently with Thalia's voice. I'm not certain how to get it right, or how to get it how I want it to be. Because I imagine it being gritty, but still higher pitched. And I don't know. I really just am confuddled as to how to do that. However, I feel I did way better this time around on the Manticore's voice. I don't know. You can tell me, but I'm proud of that performance. What's that diggity darn dude's name again? Oh, yo, frick. Sorry, the old man part. Dionysus kicking his butt into gear and actually doing something. And the moment Percy's eyes met Annabeth's. Goodness, dude, we had some good parts this stream. Whew. Like, I mean, seriously, like, thinking back on that, there were a lot of killer moments. The old man of the sea. You know, I'm so happy that they incorporated that. This whole, what gets me about once we get later into the series, or now that we're getting like further into the series, is I love the bringing back, like the reviving of the Titans and the old gods and the old like entities, the old monsters of old. Heck. The old monsters of old. You know those ones. But that whole idea of like resurfacing of ancient powers is so cool. And not to spoil anything, but that continues as a theme into the Heroes of Olympus series. I think Keaton, you might know what I'm talking about. I forget if it's only in the first one, but goodness, and once we get to Heroes of Olympus, it jumps into, you'll see. You'll see. I'm hyped for that series. I read the first, I think about 5 chapters of it with my folks. Because as you guys might very well know, this channel, the idea for it came simply from when I was living at my folks' place for a little bit. And I decided, as in an effort to spend some more quality time with them and do something that would help me with my endeavors to become a voice actor, I decided to read to them at night as they used to read to me. So I read the first 5 chapters or so, I think, of the Heroes of Olympus series. And gosh, did it it re-sparked my love for that side of the series as well. It's a solid statement. I have approximate knowledge of many things. That's just a fact. Heck yeah. Well, sweet dudes. Right on. Big shout outs to Remdog. I thanked him a lot whenever the actual gift subs happened, and it took my breath away for a little bit there, frankly. But now that we're nearing the end of the stream, I just want to say thank you again, Remdog. Your support means the world to me, especially financially during this time, since I'll have my paycheck from work is going to be significantly less, which means I'm going to be working way harder, even harder, at the stream here. Heck yeah. Yeah, that was wild. So cool. And thank all of you guys for your support. I know many of you have subbed, and not only have you subbed, but you guys show up to almost every stream, which is almost, I think, just as cool, if not even cooler. So, thank you. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow, where we will probably finish the book. I'm a little nervous about it too, but I'm excited nonetheless. It's that excited kind of nervous. You know the one. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming down and being merry with me for around 4 hours. This was a whole bucket load of fun. We saw a bunch of friendly faces in chat today, and that's a super cool thing. I pray my performance tonight was entertaining and as fun to listen to and watch as it was for me to perform. As always, please remember to take the merriment that we created tonight. Hold it dear to your heart. Take it with you to your dreams and let it flourish into the morrow. Find the little things that make you happy and focus on those. And give yourself a pat on the back every once in a while. It's important. Alright, I love you all so much, and I'll catch you in the next stream. Till then, keep on swaying, my wildflowers. See you next time.